Bam. Sliding through with your boy Tony right here on Stories Written by a Current Prisoner. Hey, thank you. Sincerely, man, thank you for taking the time out of your day. Whoever you are, whatever part of the world you're at. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, man, and watching these shows. You know, a lot of time does go behind these projects, so thank you for taking the time to watch it, man. I appreciate you, man. Stories Written by a Current Prisoner is going to continue. It will never stop, man. It will never, ever stop. With that being said, I know you guys know me for prison interviews, especially for the men, you know, former gangsters, former mobsters. However, you know, I also interview women. So this case in particular is very, very unique, very, very different, and it makes you think. It makes you think. So here we go. Don't forget to sock that like button real quick. So where did they call you?
Mary Beth.
What are you incarcerated for, and how long is your sentence?
Premeditated attempted murder, and my sentence is 19 years.
Where are you from out here on the streets?
Oceanside, San Diego.
And do you or did you belong to any type of gangs, groups, or organizations?
No, I've just been homeless and incarcerated and a drug addict all my life.
Okay. So talk to me, Mary Beth. What got you into drugs? You know, everybody has their own story of something that they went through, but usually it's depression. Usually it's something sad. Usually it's someone died close to them. Something that drove them towards drugs that try to mask the pain. You know, what's your story?
I entered drugs pretty naturally around the age of 17. I started off with acid, and then in 1989, I was in Santa Cruz for the earthquake, and I ended up traveling to San Diego to get away from the aftermath. And in San Diego at Mission Beach, people did a lot of speed, and I started off normally snorting it for about 6 weeks, and then I learned how to inject it. I probably pretty naturally inherited drug addiction from my father and my grandmother. My whole side of the family and my father's side of the family is drug addicts. And I spent like 10 years with my mother. My father raised me when I was a child, but then when I was 8 years old, I met my mother, and my mother raised me till I was about 16. And she was just really abusive and crazy. So, but I don't know, I just kind of naturally fell into, with crippling self-esteem, I just fell into the drug crowd and figured I'd find a family, and that's where I belonged. That's in the drugs. I mean, wow, what a trip.
Talk to me about your case. You know, how did you end up with a 19-year sentence? You know, what happened?
Okay. What happened was I had stopped doing drugs, and I'd stopped being homeless for 5 years. But I became an alcoholic. Drink all morning, drink hard liquor all day, like a big alcoholic. Well, I had my dog with me, and we were at the train station taking the train to the beach to go hang out at the beach and hang out with my friends at the beach and walk the dog. And the beach was about a mile away from where I lived, and I could just take this train there real easy. And so I was at the train station, and a bunch of homeless people hang out there, and I know them all. And I was drinking with them and just waiting for the train, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw somebody swing at my dog's head 3 times with like a right, left, right. And I looked at him, and I said, "Did you hit my dog?" And he wouldn't say anything. And security came over the microphone. We're all on camera security there. And they told me, "Ma'am, take your dog and leave the station." So I had to struggle to take my dog home because he knew.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
my dog knew we were on the way to the beach to go have a good time, and now I changed my mind, and he was stubborn. So it took me a long time to just take him like 8 houses away from the train station is where I lived. And anyways, in the report it says that I came back 22 minutes later. So I took the dog home and I grabbed a kitchen knife, 1 cigarette, and a lighter, and I went to the train station to kill this guy for hitting my dog, and I believed that for years. And now anyways, he ended up with 240 staples between his head, face, neck, and chest, and staples in his groin area.
Was he aware that what you were gonna do? Like you just out of the spur just started attacking him? Did he see you coming?
Sitting there. He was just sitting there in front of me on the train station bench, and he had 0 defense wounds. I just brutally attacked him with a kitchen knife. I mean, like a paring knife, not like a big butcher knife or anything, but still like a 3-4 inch knife blade. I just repeatedly stabbed him, and then I threw the knife on the tracks, and I sat down and smoked my last cigarette, waiting for the police to arrive. And I could hear the sirens coming from everywhere around me. And they life flighted him from the train station. They life flighted him to I don't know where. And he survived.
So basically, seeing him attack your dog like that triggered you and angered you so much. You know, you felt compelled to want to take this man's life.
I knew him. I mean, I didn't know him as friends, but I knew him from being one of the local drunks, and I saw the way he abused his own animal and the way he was always trying to get in fights with the people around him and people, just strangers coming off the train. He'd like try to get in fights with these ladies, and I was predispositioned not to like him. To be like, I don't know.
Absolutely,
but
no, I completely understand where you're coming from. He was already giving you a bad vibe.
Right. And so then when it happened, I was just like, this motherfucker, who does he think I am? And I was drunk. I had been drinking vodka all morning. It was now 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow. What was it like for you? You know, as soon as they arrested you and they put you in handcuffs, what was going through your mind? Did you resist at all? Did you just let them arrest you?
No. Okay, here's a little bit of my backstory. So I've been a homeless junkie in Oceanside for years. I know the police quite. When the witness was calling 911, I said, "Are you talking to 911?" And he goes, "Yes." I told him, "You tell him Mary Beth is here." And so he says, "I don't know. This girl says her name's Mary Beth." They related that information over the dispatch from 911 to dispatch to the police officers, and 15 police officers in my discovery said that they heard my name come over the radio and responded to the scene. Each one of them gave their name and where they were when they heard the call and how they responded in 3 alarm to arrive at the scene. And Officer Kelly, he came, and at first he didn't even handcuff me because I was just sitting there so submissively, and I was bleeding from where I cut myself when I was stabbing the victim. And then when the ambulance showed up, that's when he handcuffed me. But I had already smoked my cigarette. I wasn't in possession of the knife, and I was just waiting to be arrested. There was no place for me to run to, and everybody knows who I am, and even so much so that when they arrested me, I kept telling them I'm homeless and I don't have an emergency contact. I have no emergency contact and I'm homeless. Before I was able to call my boyfriend from the holding tank, the detective had already called them and told them that I was arrested. And then he was able to watch a news flash. It was on like the 6 o'clock news or whatever about the attack was on the news. So before I was even able to contact my boyfriend, the police department already did it and told them that they arrested me for murder. But then later it came out, attempted murder.
So basically, right after you had done that, in your mind, did you think that he was gone?
I thought I was going to be a lifer when I left the house with the knife and the cigarette. I thought I was never going to get out of prison and that I was going to go kill this guy and smoke my last cigarette and go to prison for the rest of my life.
Where's your mindset now? Do you still have the same perspective? Be honest.
No.
Did you get any type of joy while you did that? Did you get any type of gratification for doing that?
I had like a weird sense of pride. Like, now motherfuckers know not to fuck with me. But in all that, after all that, like through my sobriety and the years of sobriety and stuff, that I took out on that guy all the abuse and all the times I was victimized and the times that I was on the streets and just all the different child abuse that I went through and partner abuse and just the vulnerability of being a drug addict on the streets and you know and just all the predators and everything. I just finally had somebody to take out that anger on, and he was the one. And at first I was still going around with that like that toughness. And now I worry about him and
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Because I did to him what other people did to me. I mean, I've never been shanked, but in that brutality, in that, like he was probably just suffering the same as I was, but I was so selfish and so self-centered and so stuck up that I thought that, you know, I had to be the number one, that nothing mattered except my point of view.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Do you want me to call you back?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I had a lot of anger, and I took it out on him, and now I try to be, like, now I'm open to that, like, probably everybody here is suffering, and like, and a lot of people around me have like been victims of an array of child abuse and then like drug addiction and mental conditions and that are hereditary or develop or are caused by the insanity of our lifestyles. I try really hard. I struggle. I still want to be alone. I still want to be selfish. But I'm in an overpopulated prison system, and you know, I try to understand. I try to be sympathetic, and I pray for like my victims, and like God, I can't imagine. You know, I don't know. I didn't do anything to make him better, that's for sure. You know what I mean? Like he was already a person that was struggling, and then I just had to take advantage of that, I guess, because of my own problems.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So how long has this been?
If this happened, on September, if I remember correctly, it happened on September 17th, 2017.
September 17th, 2017. What would your advice be to someone who has that they have that little thing in them where they can do anything at the drop of a hat? You know, someone insults them, someone cuts them off on the freeway, someone tends to stare at them for too long, and that compels them to want to engage in some type of confrontation. What would you tell that person?
Okay, yeah, you probably have heard this before. But what has helped me is forgiveness. Is I had to start the people that I held my grudges against the worst, like my mom. I had to forgive her, and I haven't been in contact with her for years. You know, I don't know anything about her. But I had to get with God. Never did that before. Start reading the New Testament. I mean, I read the whole Bible, but in the New Testament, I had to learn about the things that Jesus did and start trying to implement those in my life. And the thing that helped me, though, even before I did that, was I just had to realize that these people that hurt me in the past, I just got to forgive them. Because I caused problems myself, and I need that forgiveness. And then now I'm pursuing a relationship with Christianity, and so that just kind of, I don't know. I read daily, but since basically I've been in prison pretty much, or since I've started doing that, we've had COVID, so I haven't been to any services or anything. Because we just don't have them. And I'm only in this prison for a month now. I was at another prison. But the forgiveness has helped me with nightmares, with anger, mostly, and just in reading the New Testament and learning about Jesus. I try to there's some rules there and some examples, and I just really try my best to be as kind as I can.
Is there anything else that you would like to say before we end this interview?
I'm willing to do all the time that I have to do because of what I did, yet I'm really sorry to the person that I hurt, that I did it to. And I'm sorry to all the people, the nameless victims of my addiction. The 3 children I had that I didn't raise because of my addiction. I'm so genuinely sorry, and I'm willing to do every day that I have to do for my crime.
I want to thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Okay, thank you, sir.